Hey guys, welcome back to another Ferrari Formula One Evolution video illustrated with 1/18 scale models. This is the 2006 248 F1 made by Hotwheels and was driven by Michael Schumacher and Felipe Massa. The name is based off the 2.4 liter V8 engine that was new for 2006. Of course, that was the big change for the season. Gone were the glorious V10s, aside from one team running a restricted engine, and now we're the high revving V8s. Apparently, teams had to deal with increased vibrations, and so it was a challenge to push RPMs higher for more power. Ferrari had some engine trouble to begin this season, but did end up making upwards of 780 horsepower and revving close to 20,000 RPM. This performance typically would only be seen in qualifying, as the engines were turned down quite a bit in the races. The change to smaller V8 engines did provide opportunities for gains in the overall package. The V8 engine required less cooling capacity as well as less air required to feed the engine, so Ferrari drastically reduced the radiator inlet ducts as well as the air intake opening above the driver's head. This was aerodynamically beneficial, as not only did it mean less drag, but it meant less turbulent air underneath the bodywork and cleaner airflow towards the rear wing and diffuser. This meant more downforce. Ferrari also relocated the mounting points of the mirrors to the outboard edges of the side pod, thus shielding them behind the front tires. Because the exhaust pipes only had 4 primary tubes versus 5 with the V10, and the fact that the V8 was physically shorter, Ferrari was able to close the bodywork in much tighter than before. Again, this resulted in more downforce and less drag. This basically defines the aero efficiency for a Formula One car, and Ross Brawn said during the season that the 248 F1 was finally as efficient as the F2004. I should also state that while the smaller V8s had a minimum weight of 95 kilograms, because of the smaller dimensions, it improved the center of gravity. The side pod turning vane was refined to now attach to the winglet. No longer was this used as a hot air chimney vent. Instead, Ferrari could open up the area behind the back of this turning vane for additional cooling when needed. The rear wing on the 248 F1 is one that I really like. Since about 2003, other teams have experimented with curved rear wings, and for 2006, Ferrari introduced this scoop-shaped upper element. I recall some thought that the scoop would flex and close the gap, thus stalling the rear wing and reducing drag. I couldn't tell you if those rumors were true or not, but the FIA did force teams to install a slot gap separator on the rear wings. I just know it's a damn fine-looking wing. Ferrari also added the 2 structural pillars as support for the wing. The diffuser saw some major changes. Far more complex than the F2005s, the new diffuser had various steps and curves to maximize the available area. The central channel had a second floor, similar to a double diffuser. Back at the front of the car, Ferrari went away with their unique 2005 design and went with the scoop-shaped front wing like the rest of the field. This model shows an early 3-element design, but Ferrari later changed it to 2 elements. Ferrari also introduced the double-decker wing. I know these upper wings can be used to direct the airflow over and around the front tires, which might partially happen here, but because the wings aren't directly in line with the front tires, I suspect they were a source of front downforce. Moving slightly farther back, the barge board started to take an alien shape, as all the edges and appendages were to control the airflow down the side of the car, as well as under the floor. In between the barge boards, once again, was a single keel. In fact, the 248 F1 was the last car to see a single keel design. As many changes the 248 F1 had over the F2005, the car was still heavily developed throughout the season. We already talked about the front wing, but here at the Japanese Grand Prix you can see the revised end plates. The barge board started to see some sharp steps along the upper edge, some extension winglets attached to the front side pods to control the wake off the front tire. A second kick-up in front of the rear tire was added, and Ferrari started running the hubcaps on the rear wheels as well. All this combined with the fact that Bridgestones were pretty much on par with Michelin's, the 248 F1 was a very competitive car. In fact, it probably should have claimed both drivers and constructors championships. Up to about Canada, Renault was the better car, as you can see in their speeds, but afterwards, with all the development Ferrari did, they really established themselves as the best package, and it showed, as from the US Grand Prix, Ferrari won 6 of the next 7 races. Unfortunately, Schumacher had an engine failure at the Japanese Grand Prix while leading, but this was not the only blunder that hurt his championship. Going back to the Monaco Grand Prix, Schumacher got a penalty in qualifying and had to start from the back. He finished 5th in one of his greatest drives in my opinion. Then before that, Schumacher binned his car in Australia, part of a Ferrari double DNF. All 3 of these events, Alonso went on to win, and I think that is why Alonso was a deserving champion, as he just didn't make any mistakes, and he capitalized on any opportunity available. Sadly, this would be an end of an era as Schumacher decided to retire, opening the seat for a highly regarded Kimi Räikkönen. We will dive into that when we look at the F2007. If you guys liked the video, hit that like button, subscribe for more videos, and if you'd like to support the channel, check out the links in the description, and thanks for watching.